What is going on, Lions fans and One Pride Nation? Hey, in this long off season, we have to find something to talk about, something to keep us engaged with the Lions until we get into the draft season, which gets pretty busy. Starting with next week with the combine kicking off, and then from there you go into the new NFL year, and then from there you go into free agency, and then it'll be schedule release time, and then it'll be the draft, and then it'll be OTAs and mini camps. But until then, we have to find a way to find things to talk about and to stay busy and to keep it all things Detroit Lions. So today, I want to touch on this story is a couple of days old, but I want to touch on Rod Wood retiring as the Lions president. He has been the Lions president since 2015, and he is stepping down pretty much effectively before this 26 season kicks off, giving the Lions a chance to actually bring someone else in. So what I'm doing is I'm going to look at something in this article from A to Z Sports, where they talk about three candidates, because like you, I've been wondering who could possibly step in and fill this role. Says three candidates to be the Detroit Lions new team president. It starts out by talking about the shakeup of the Lions announcing that Rod Wood is stepping down. Here's what we know to this point. Rod Wood will be retiring before the 2026 season, but will stay on until his replacement is found, which is a good thing, because we know that even though it is the offseason, NFL is a 12-month-a-year season, and there are things that need to be done and someone who needs to do them until the new replacement steps in. It says what's an important factor here is that this is not necessarily a move that requires someone who is a great football mind. Wood was infamous. I'm sorry, he was infamously not that. Wood did not pick the players on this team or have much to do with the format of the team. His job consists of things like ticket sales, pricing strategy, sponsorships, marketing, branding, fan engagement, revenue growth, etc., etc. So that's what they're saying, that someone needs to just come in and not necessarily be someone who can make football decisions, but who can make some of those business decisions. And these are the three candidates that A to Z is pointing out. Former Detroit Lions great linebacker Chris Spielman. It says Spielman, currently Lions special assistant to the owner and CEO. Let's read and see what it says. Yeah, these articles are not that long. We'll start with someone who is a football forward and someone who Lions fans are probably going to want to take the job. Chris Spielman, the thing about Chris Spielman is that he's already very high up in the franchise. He's not grabbing Ford's coffee and setting her meetings. It says when Ford took over as owner, there was a calculated effort to find and surround herself and with people who knew football, something the Lions just hardly really had much of in the front office beforehand, which is true. Spielman assisted Ford and Wood in the interview process for general manager and head coach, and had some say in the hiring of Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. He is trusted with the organization at the highest level possible. So Chris Spielman can come in. He does know the Lions. He has been part of this franchise, this organization since the 80s. He knows the One Pride Nation, all the Lions fans, and I think he knows what the fans would want when it comes to, like they said, things like ticket sales and sponsorships and ways to market the team. It also doesn't hurt that Chris Spielman is a good football mind. The next person is Peter O'Reilly, the EVP, club business and league events for the NFL. It says a lot of times these types of jobs are filled by people who work within the league. O'Reilly oversees the NFL sponsorships, revenue growth, and the league's international growth, among other things. He works hand in hand with every team in the league and has been a big part of the NFL's brand growth and commercial strategy. He was also the director of the NBA for many years. This is a strong business background that fills this job really well. The only thing is he's never worked specifically for one team before. Does he want to do that? So that kind of makes sense. He's kind of had his hands in the pot, is what they're saying, with 30 NBA teams and 32 NFL teams. Probably keeps him going, that he's not in one space at one time, but it doesn't mean that he wouldn't be a very good president for the Lions. And then the last person they have on this list is Catherine Ritchie, Brown's assistant general manager and vice president of football operations. Ritchie has a ton of background in the league. Before her time with the Browns, she was the vice president of football operations for the Eagles. Before the NFL, she was in the CFL as a director of football administration for the Toronto Argonauts. Ritchie brings salary cap expertise and the football expertise that could really help surround forward with the football knowledge she craved once she took over. Rach Ritchie has a leg up over Spillman because she's dealt with the numbers and the money. She's also already had very high positions within the league and helped build an Eagles team that went to the Super Bowl. She has a very good resume, somebody that you might want to consider. I'm still going to go with Chris Spillman out of these three. I would take Catherine number 2 and then Peter number 3 if I had to put them in order. But it goes to shows that they are looking for someone to come in and boost up the team. And hopefully they bring in some, for season ticket holders, hopefully they bring in somebody who can literally, hopefully they bring in somebody who can come in and take into account that they need to be loyal to the fans who have been loyal to them, loyal to the fans who have been there for them and have, that's a one screen, I won't, and is supporting them. I really think that it's ridiculous that they didn't drop the season tickets after that disappointing 2025, that they sent us that bill just like the boys made it back to the playoffs. But we'll see what happens. But Lions fans, what do you think? Who would you like to see take Rod Wood's spot? Do you like these three candidates, or is there maybe somebody else out there who you may like to come in and take this position who is not on this list? All right, Lions fans, if you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and that goes for the rest of you as well. We don't care what fan you a team of. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Give us your comments and your thoughts. Well, that's all for this one. Rod Wood is retiring, and we are looking for his next replacement. That's all I got. Until next time. Peace.